Hey guys, my name is Kev. Welcome back to the channel. We're still talking about the Switch 2, man. Nintendo is wilding out, man. Still, they've lost their fucking minds. That's all we can say about it. They are too far gone. So we talked about the Switch 2 and the prices and the pricing for the console. Again, I'm fine with the price of the console. I don't know how powerful it is. Everybody keeps saying it's more powerful than the Switch. I'm not sure that it is or it isn't because I don't know what chip is in there. We do know it has a 1080p screen, 120 hertz panel, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be more powerful than the Steam Deck. It might be. I don't know. I want more information. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I'm seeing a lot of people use that as a defense for the Switch 2. It has a lot of great games. Look like it's coming to them, but they're just expensive, and I don't like the prices of games. My stance right now is don't pay more than $20 for computer games or for video games in general. And Nintendo seems to have a very, very different outlook on this. They seem to have their heads in the clouds, completely disconnected from reality or from your average everyday Joe. They are completely out of touch. And what they said recently about people who might not be able to afford a Switch 2 reminds me of stick to 360. The statement that got me to switch to PC gaming in the first place, and the statement that got Phil Spencer his job as the head of Xbox. As we look at Nintendo Switch 2, and you think about the feature set that I talked about, we believe that the pricing is appropriate for the value of the machine and the overall gameplay experience. We recognize there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price point. That's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available, so people still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe, be a part of these characters in these worlds, and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in on. Excuse me? This is effectively, we don't care. We are a premium product now. And you just gonna pay up or shut up. If you can't afford it, we don't care. They're justifying Yuzu's existence. They justified Ryu Bing's existence. This is why we do these things we do. I've been making a joke today on Twitter. I've been ranting about this on Twitter and Reddit for the last couple days. It's ironic that Nintendo is pursuing so many pirates, but they gave a pirate the Triforce of Wisdom. The three elements of the Triforce: the wisdom to know how to emulate Nintendo games, the courage to do so when you need to, and the power that you gain after you pirate Nintendo games. At this point, it is morally and ethically correct to pirate Nintendo games because when you make a consumer product and the company is just like, well, F you, we don't care, I think you just say F you right back. That's my stance on it. I can't wait for Ryu's 2. Bring on the Yuzu 2. Until then, I am going to recommend that everybody just goes and find whatever fork of Yuzu you want because Nintendo didn't kill Switch emulation. They thought they could defeat the internet, but the internet is still undefeated. They're still updating these apps. They're just under different names now. And you can tell what fork it is or whatever fork you download. You can tell where it came from because it looks like the exact same app. Like they may have slightly changed the logo. Like on Ryujinx, the logo is slightly different. On Yuzu, it's the identical interface. Everything is exactly in the same place. They literally just changed the name and kept updating it. Same with Ryujinx. You changed nothing, Nintendo. You thought you could defeat the internet, but the internet's still undefeated. And then you say things like this. There are people who are going to pay. And I appreciate your contributions to my hobby. I appreciate that you're paying for this. But with Nintendo's attitude towards this and them not understanding that, the cost of living for the average Joe is insane right now. And for them to have this just completely out of touch, kind of brain dead take where we only want the rich people now, I say, okay. If that's really how you feel about it, I'm already emulating your games anyway. I emulate all of the retro stuff. I have the Switch. I know how to emulate Switch. I actually used to have tutorials on how to emulate them on the Steam Deck on my page. I took it down because I didn't want them to try to copyright strike me. But it's not difficult to do. It's literally download a couple files and point the emulator at it and tell them what controller you have. It's not difficult at all. In fact, I think EmuDeck is kind of insulting because of how easy it is to set up. And that's the game they want to play. Nintendo doesn't respect you as a consumer, especially if you can't pay out the yin. Even if you do pay out the yin yang, because the virtual game cards to me just feel like online DRM a la Xbox One. You know, we still have a product for those of you that can't afford the Switch 2. It's called the Switch 1. Feels very much so like, well, we have a product for people who don't have online connectivity, Xbox 360. It sounds the same to me. Nintendo have lost their goddamn minds. And they can fuck around, find out. The Tetra cosplays will continue.